But all along, he knows he's being recorded. He's sending this message, speaking to the prosecutor, knowing that she's the one that's bringing the case and she's the one who's going to recommend a particular sentence. I just don't know if he knew that they would bring it up at sentencing, because I don't think he thought he was going to be convicted. But he was, and it was used, and he's now in prison for 10 to 15, unless he wins some appeal in front of some court at some point. Let me bring in our special guest. Joining me in Los Angeles, board-certified forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman is with us. Okay, your initial reaction, Dr. Lieberman, to hearing James Crumbley, a man who's locked up and at the time was facing these charges, involuntary manslaughter, for the murders committed by his son. What are you hearing in his voice?
Well, it gives us a peek into the life that Ethan was having with his two parents. They are both, I don't want to say mentally ill necessarily, but they both have deep psychological problems. I don't know which one is worse, but certainly the father, on the one hand, he's getting a thrill out of thinking that Karen McDonald is going to hear this, that maybe she'll be intimidated. I mean, in his fantasy, she'll be intimidated. He is in such denial, it almost really rises to the point of delusion. For example, something else he said was, I feel like I've joined the military. I'm going to fight for my country. I mean, you kind of showed this. I'm fighting for everybody else's freedom. It seems like he really does believe that in a way, and it's almost delusional. It's really it's so interesting because today, as you were mentioning, this was also the day of the sentencing of Hannah Gutierrez, and she, just like the Crumbley parents, both in her jail calls and also in what she said at the sentencing, just got herself into more deeper hot water than she would have been before. And certainly the key thing is not showing any remorse. And that is what James Crumbley is doing. He's not showing any remorse. We know Jennifer Crumbley didn't. You would think that they would know. Well, here's the thing. They presumably know that the things that they're saying are not going to go well for them in court if they in fact get time, like he was thinking that he was going to get out and Jennifer was thinking she was going to get out. But their personality, they have such a defiant personality that they're willing to, not suck up basically to the judge, not come across as remorseful, just so that they can, be defiant and no one's going to tell me what to do. And that's what he grew up in.
And as I listened to James Crumbley, that it seemed like he was convinced that this jury would never come back. There would never be 12 people who come back and say, you are guilty of homicide, involuntary manslaughter for the death of the 4 students who were murdered by his son. He did not believe he was going to be convicted. So I don't think he was concerned at all about this being used at sentencing, because I think he thought there never would be a sentencing.
Well, yes. And yes, because he was saying in 3 months, when I get out of here, you better worry. I'm going to come after you in one way or another. And then Jennifer Crumbley was asking for probation to stay at her lawyer's house. I mean, that was very bizarre. So there are many, they have many problems. Not that they could have gone for not guilty by reason of insanity, but they have deep psychological problems. In fact, with the father, well, possibly with the mother too, it made me think that perhaps there is some kind of genetic disorder that, in fact, got passed down to their son, like whether schizophrenia or manic depressive illness, whatever. But, I mean, the father really seemed delusional in some of these calls.
Delusional and angry at the same time. And right. You wonder about their son, the shooter, like angry at someone. He's right. Angry at other kids in the school, trying to make his mark and seemingly, acting against the norms of society. Like if you're arrested and charged. And I get it. This is a case unlike any case. We've been saying it for a long time. Going after the parents in this situation. We haven't seen it, not for the homicides of the victims. And to me, it's the type of case where you can show remorse, like actual remorse, because it's not like you're admitting something by showing a level of remorse. In this case and in Hannah Gutierrez's case. I mean, both cases, you can feel really bad and really focus on the victims in the case. You really can without admitting your own guilt. But I think in both scenarios, they're caught up on, I shouldn't be here. I did not commit a crime.
Right, right. And they have no empathy. You know, the father, actually, James Crumbley, did shed some tears at his sentencing, but it did not ring true. But even in the calls as well as in the sentencing, he talked about the truth. You know, remember, like that was very paranoid what he said about I don't want to talk about this on the phone because, you know, they'll be able to use it against me. You know, that he doesn't want to tell the truth of what really happened because he wants to get out and then use that to free himself or to clear his name or something like that. You know, that was a very paranoid. Do you know what I'm talking about? That was a very paranoid remark.
Yeah, and also a remark by someone who thought he had some information that was going to turn this thing around. And it didn't. Right. It just did not happen. Dr. Carol Lieberman, great to see you tonight. Thanks for your help. We'll speak again.
Thank you.
All right. Well,